Talking about dilations. Dilation is a transformation that produces a figure similar to the original by shrinking or stretching the figure. Dilations are enlargements or reductions. An enlargement creates a larger image where a reduction creates a smaller image. Dilations change the size of an object, but not the shape. A dilation will be a similar figure, but not a congruent figure. To determine the scale factor, you can set up a fraction called the image divided by the object. The image being the new picture, or shape, and the object being the original. To write your scale factor as a ratio, we would write image compared to object. If the scale factor is larger than 1, the figure is enlarged. If the scale factor is between 0 and 1, then the image is reduced. The following percentage points for whole numbers or fractions will tell you if your scale factor is an enlargement or a reduction. If we're talking about 75% of an object, this 75% is less than 100. So this would be a reduction because the object would be getting smaller. It is 75% of the original size, so it's getting smaller. If I look at this number 4 as my scale factor, that means it's 4 times larger. 4 is greater than 1, so that means it is an enlargement. And finally, 1/2 is a number that is between 0 and 1, so you're taking half the size, which would be a reduction. The dilation of an object is called the image. If the original object is labeled with letters, such as the triangle ABC, the image should be labeled with the same letters, followed by a prime symbol, which is like a little apostrophe. And it should be labeled as A prime, B prime, C prime. This lets you know it is the after image of the original. A figure and its dilation are similar figures. The length of each side of the image is proportional to the length of the corresponding side of the original figure multiplied by the scale factor. Now let's look at a couple examples of how we would actually use this. So if we're looking at this first example, what is the scale factor you would multiply the first image by to get the dilation of the second image? In this case, it does not have letters, so we're going to assume this first smaller shape is your object. Don't know what's going on with my pen. And the second shape is the image. So we're going to follow the rule of writing it as a fraction or as a ratio with image divided by object. So I'm going to take the side measures of the corresponding sides, 10, which is my image, divided by 5, which is my object, and I get a scale factor of 2. You could do the same thing with the other two sides, and I would have 6 as my image over 3 as my object, and I would still get a scale factor of 2. If they are similar figures, then all sides will be corresponding, and they will have the same scale factor. But you do not always have to put the big image over the small image. It depends on what is your object and what is your image. So for the next problem, we are going to look at our object, which is this first shape, and our image, which is the second shape. And I'm going to write my ratio, image divided by object. So my image in this case is 10 inches, and my object in this case is 30 inches. I can simplify this fraction to 1/3. And if I wanted to write it as a decimal, it would be 0.3 repeating. All of this is less than 1, so this is a reduction, where the first example was an enlargement.